Hello and welcome. I'm Glimo. I'm the Keeper of the Chronicles for this Call of Cthulhu Mask of Nyarlathotep campaign on Roll20, streaming to Twitch and YouTube. Welcome to session 26 and the start of season 4. Our heroes are off to Egypt.
And our names are wrong on Twitch.
You're right. Sorry. Everyone except Sean, shut your camera off. You know, you'd think with all that extra time I would have fixed that. No, I made sure to get the everybody's I managed to get, the camera set right and George's box deleted, but no, then forgot to. Carl, can you shut your camera off for a second? Great. And then Oren, Carl, and Bill. Great. Okay. Thanks for catching that, Bill. Even though I left myself a note, I, thought I already did it. Okay. Many, many, many thanks to Creolsh for building me these awesome new Twitch overlays for season 4. We're going to try to not only look more polished, but also to move the story along more quickly this season. I hope everyone is off to a great start of the year. I just put in my first week of guest appearances on AP Gaming Reel's Battletech show on Thursday. I'll be back for another round this week, so please feel free to stop by this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern and say hi at twitch.tv/apgamingreel. Also, I'm going to put in another plug for Miskatonic High. The Kickstarter is on right now for uh, issue 6, and we're really close to starting to hit stretch goal territory. So please, if you like Cthulhu and comics and teenage angst, please give them a look-see and help them make more comics. So because right now I'm 5 issues in and I can't have them not make more comics, then I would fail my sanity roll. And like you get if you back at a high enough tier, you get cool little things, chatskis like this. So um, that's what I got. Other than that, just a whole bunch of work, a whole bunch of cold weather, and really I'm looking forward to being done with winter. Yes, I know it's only mid-January. How's everybody else doing? Sean, what's going on in your world?
Well, let's see. I've just about hit the 5-year mark being cancer free this week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Um, and talking about Kickstarters. Is anybody else getting in on the Hero Forge one?
I didn't know that Hero Forge was doing one.
Hero Forge is doing Hero Forge 2.0 full color custom minis.
What is Hero Forge?
It lets you design miniatures for your tabletop, and they will create them for you in various different materials, or you can get the digital file for your 3D printer.
Didn't know that they had even gone to that. I had only used them for character sheet creation in the
Well,
past, but
here's the thing too, is they've launched it. They're going to have a token creator using the technology for character sheets and etc. I backed it at the lifetime access to their token maker, unlimited, and looks really good. Plus, I'm going to get a free color mini. Well, not free. I'm paying for it.
Yeah, that's right. I paid for it.
Yeah. But yeah, no. They can print in 3D 3D miniatures in color now.
Wow. Yeah,
I know.
color printing.
Or office
$1.6 million backed with 25 days to go. Holy crap!
Yeah, basically, I'm waiting for the doctor for my cancer results. Oh, ping. Oh, we've gone live. Great. Go. Oh, you've already surpassed what you need. Anyway, place my bid in. By the end of the day, they cracked 1 million.
Wow.
Okay, I'll put this on the watch list and figure out if I'm actually going to do something with it later once so I don't derail tonight by deciding if I'm backing, how much I'm spending, all that stuff. Good to know. Anything else?
That's all for today.
All right, Carl, what's going on with you?
I'm angry about receipts. So angry. Um, Speaking of miniatures, I went to Pandemonium, and because my son was interested in some D&D miniatures, and so we got an Umber Hulk, 2 paladins, and 2 clerics, representing
Nice.
the first miniatures I've ever bought in my life. Needless to say, I'm more of a theater of the mind person. Anyways, like I was telling Eric, in probably another 8 or 9 years, maybe we can get another player. That'd be my son.
We'll still be playing then.
There'll be a
The-
chapter
we
5 or
evolve.
6.
at the rate we're going, we might not even get out of Egypt by then.
I'm sure we'll be close. If not, I will just hand the keys over to my son and just go watch football. It's like,
Bill, what's going on in your world?
Well, speaking of Kickstarters, I too have backed the Kickstarter this week. It's the Return to Dark Tower board game from the 80s. They're redoing the whole Dark Tower with the randomization. And
Really? Do you still
yeah,
get the cool tower thing?
it's got the tower. They're
Is it
actually
still?
upgrading it. It's got Bluetooth capabilities.
I was gonna say it's probably not a bunch of crazy worm gears inside anymore.
It might be because I was looking at the cross section of it, and there's a bunch of motors and weird things and different LED lights in there. So there's lots of different colors and things.
Trying to find a still working tower at this point in time, like those things go for like $200 plus on eBay. Although
Yeah.
several people have written, tower emulators for phone apps and Raspberry Pi and
Well, the return is back. They were
you
close
guys
to
are
a
gonna
million
spend
last I
all my
checked.
money.
I guess I'll
They
have.
had like an $800,000 funding goal, and I saw the go live went in, and they were already funded as well. So they're doing big money too.
Hmm.
I think they've already done a couple stretch goals.
Return to Dark Tower is at 2.6 million. Holy crap! With 15 days to go. All right,
Yeah.
save that too. Well, there goes my Christmas money.
Uh-huh. So yeah, I got in on that one on day one, and yeah, so I'll be watching that one as well.
Oren, what's going on with you?
Well, now that Bill's mentioned that, I'll have to check down in my mom's basement because I do believe we have Dark Tower in a box in our basement, the original one. So I'll have to check that out now. Other than that, I'm doing fine. Just getting into state testing for the students I have.
That time of year already, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. So let me show off for those of you watching on Twitch, show off these cool overlays that Cree made for me. I've got the board here. Looks almost tabletop-y with me way up top there. I'm loving all these pyramids here.
That was a cool wipe.
Yeah, I got the stinger transition. Got backgrounds that change every little bit. Got a bunch of horror stuff, a bunch of Egypt stuff. So I'm pretty psyched. Um, all right. Um, some quick bookkeeping from last session that I forgot to do, probably because it was really late when we were doing investigator development. Jesse, Seamus, and Alistair all went insane from seeing the Shantax at the ritual, so you all gain 5 points of Cthulhu Mythos. So that you can further go insane.
it was worth it.
Yay!
Mhm.
Okay, so before
Oh, there we go. That's my maximum drop.
yes, your max sanity will drop.
Wait, what do I
Um,
need to do? I
just
need to lower max
but no,
sanity.
that'll do it. The if you're using, well, no, you are using the official sheet, so it'll do it on its own for you. So once you bump up the Cthulhu mythos, it
I
auto
need to add.
calcs.
I
Yeah,
need to add 5.
Add 5.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm so far from there, it doesn't much matter.
Oh, I have more Cthulhu mythos than credit rating now.
Oh my God.
I'm rich in madness.
There you go. Okay. So I'm going to give you all a little bit of background about what Egypt is like in the 20s before we get started. Also, I'm going to show you this this timeline handout, which I stole from the good folks at Overly Sarcastic Productions, which is a great YouTube channel. They do a bunch of cool folklore and literature stuff and a bunch of interesting history stuff, and they've got a really great uh, Egyptian history playlist, and I highly recommend it. But this little handy dandy timeline here talks about some of the major pharaohs, connects dynasties to actual years, talks about the kingdoms and who was in charge and all of that. That will probably, I know this helped me when I was building up this chapter, so I'm assuming this will be useful to everyone else as well. So feel free to keep that around for reference.
Wait, question.
Yes.
Why is the new kingdom brighter?
Because I screenshotted it off YouTube, and so they were, doing a highlight of who was what where, and that's where I caught the video
so
when
there's
it was screenshotted.
so there's no real significance
There is
to
no
the game.
significance to that. No, there's no significance to that. It is just where I happened to catch the screen capture after hitting back 30 seconds over and over and over again because I kept missing hitting.
My bad.
Bill, can you flip your camera off and on real quick?
I tried to mute and I pressed the wrong button.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, that's the only significance to that where that is that when you watch it live, they do that box moves as he's talking, and the slide is only on the screen for about 5 seconds, so it was super hard to get it even screenshotted, let alone get it without that thing on it, and so anyway, that's what that is. Okay, so the opening of the tomb of Tutankhamun in November of 1922 and the breathtaking beauty of the treasures within sparks a wave of Egypt mania that washes over the entire world. Egyptian jewelry is worn by flappers and dowagers alike. Men wear tarbooshes, which is the Arabic equivalent of a fez, to work on Wall Street, and smoking of hashish from shisha water pipes becomes a fashionable pastime. Cairo profits from the attention of the rest of the world, and tourists in search of the wonders of Egypt fill its hotels and bazaars. The greatest city in Africa and one of the great cities of the world, by mid-1920s, Cairo's population has risen to 850,000, 1 in 10 of whom are foreigners. It's the capital of the oldest continuously identifiable culture in the world, with dynasties of North and South Egypt stretching back to 3100 BCE, 5,000 years before you all set foot on the desert sands. Guarded effortlessly by the desert and the sea, the heritage of Egypt is unparalleled in its architectural achievement, cultural sophistication, and its general stability. Only China is able to rival its cultural heritage. The 1920s are a time of turmoil for Egypt, with frequent riots and political killings. A British protectorate for about 40 years, Egypt regains most of its internal independence in 1922, following the 1919 revolution by Zaghul. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Um, However, the British reserve 4 areas of discretionary powers concerning imperial communications. Uh, Imperial communications, which include the Suez Canal, the Sudan, the defense of Egypt and the canal, and the protection of foreign interests and of minorities. Such reservations are far removed from full independence, and resistance to the British presence in the form of civil unrest is ongoing throughout the period. Investigators visiting Cairo in the 1920s find themselves in the middle of a powder keg of political intrigue, with members of rival political parties literally fighting each other in the streets. British garrisons remain at the Suez Canal, and armed British intervention within Egypt is a normal occurrence. This continual interference prompts general resentment towards foreigners regardless of their nationality. No pressure, guys. One particularly sensitive area is the movement of ancient artifacts and treasure out of Egypt by foreign archaeologists. In consequence, the Egyptian national government strictly polices such activity. Investigators will not receive much help from the Egyptian authorities when it comes to the removal of mythos items from the land of the Nile. Surreptitious removal is a criminal offense, and applicable charges, including damage of antiquities, will be pressed if caught, resulting in up to a year in prison if found guilty. Amid all the political chaos, there remains the allure of Cairo itself. This is, after all, the city of the Arabian Nights, with a storyteller on every corner and snake charmers aplenty to distract the unwary. There's a whole bunch of parks and gardens in the city center. There's lots of fine restaurants, cafes, and nightclubs around the Ezbekia area. The main post office is on its south side. The American consulate is on the north side. On the west is most of the European-style hotels in the city, including the world's famous Shepherds. And to the east are the financial institutions such as the stock exchange. Still further east, there's some excellent shops to be found, but these soon peter out to where the so-called New Quarter meets the Old City. Within the Old City are narrow, winding alleys and crowded marketplaces, so stereotypically Middle Eastern. Perhaps the most famous bazaar is the Muski, a thriving market where everything from silks to fine jewelry, spices to rugs, and if you know where to look for it, black market weapons, including guns, can be found. The true heart of Cairo, the old Cairo, also contains the most of the classic Arabic architecture, though average homes and shops are simple 2 to 4 story flat-roofed buildings made of whitewashed mud, brick, and tile. Most of Cairo is shockingly poor, and beggars abound. Some are con artists, but many genuinely suffer from an array of physical deformities, including missing arms, legs, and noses, as well as twisted spines. Other than a few thoroughfares, Cairo's streets, particularly in the Old City, are notoriously narrow, crowded, obstructed, and otherwise inaccessible to carriages and motor cars. Apart from pack animals transporting goods, most of Cairo's traffic is on foot, although an excellent tram network connects many parts of the city. A tourist tramway also bridges the Nile and ends at the Giza pyramids, which lie to the west of the city. After the Arab conquest, the native Coptic dialects of Egypt were gradually replaced by Arabic, except for the Bohairic dialect, which was preserved for religious purposes by the Coptic Christian Church. The written characters for this remnant are mostly drawn from Greek, though a few Demotic Egyptian characters also survived. And that's my quick little summary about Egypt, what you got going on, what you're going to be stepping into. So, we cut back to the steamship. Been at sea for a couple of days. You've got a couple more weeks of sailing to go. So first off, are any of you spending your downtime on the ship to play with any of your new toys or loot? Loot tomes, trying to learn new spells, anything like that.
I know I was.
Tell me what you'd like to do.
Well, I do believe I had picked up that one book that had some type of fire spell or something about that. So I was going to spend time trying to learn that spell.
Okay. Pull up my tomes list here.
It would be one of the ones that we
Song
had gotten
of the Jinn.
Yeah.
Which you had done the initial reading of, and it has the spell Enchantment of the Living Flame. Okay. Why didn't I copy and paste that into this document? Give me 1 second.
No
Because the
problem.
rules in Pulp for learning a spell are a little bit different, and I made myself a cheat sheet and then promptly did not copy it into the document that I have all the tomes in, because that would have just made too much sense. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, it will take you. It will take you 4 hours to learn that spell. So,
All right.
given that you
Right.
have 2 weeks, that's not going to be a problem.
And I bring up to the rest of our gang, there's a book we have that a man wrote about being actually in the cult of the Black Pharaoh that we may want to look at as well.
Yeah,
What is
Alistair
that? My
already.
Life as God? Yeah.
Yeah, Alistair already read that book, Life as a God. And not that one of you can't also read it, but Alistair has done a full reading of that book and knows all of the things that there are to know about it.
So if someone reads a Mythos tome and then they tell you what's in it, but you don't read it, do you also lose sanity?
You do not lose sanity. You only lose sanity for reading the book. Similarly, you only gain Cthulhu Mythos points from actually reading the book and not just having someone tell you what's in the book.
So somehow it's less horrible if you don't read it.
It is less horrible if you don't actually read it.
Yeah,
I
you
know
can
we
go,
picked up.
yeah, right, whatever.
I do believe we have at least another book that has a spell in it and a whole bunch of scrolls and books that we probably should look over the next couple of weeks just to be prepared.
So wait, what does the spell you just read do?
Okay, so yes, I should tell you that, I suppose, since you spend the time to read it. Let me get the full spell description up here.
Yeah, he had just said it once before. It basically turns.
Well,
you're
I didn't
holding-
give you the whole details before, because
okay.
you just did the initial reading of the book, so I gave you a quick summary. But Enchantment of the Living Flame. Okay, so you can either use this spell in conjunction with the spell Summon Fire Vampire to bring more than one fire vampire into existence
one needs
at
more than one.
once and bind them to you. Or you can prepare an iron replica of a torch of the size and heft desired, bearing the sign of Cthulhu. The caster then prays to Cthulhu for 6 hours, and if successful, the torch begins to burn of its own accord, signifying that the enchantment is completed. Remarkably, the enchanted torch requires no fuel. The iron head itself burns inextinguishably and without end. Only by invoking Cthulhu's name does the torch extinguish itself. The torch can either be used to aid in summoning fire vampires. Each additional fire vampire will cost you an extra 1d3 sanity points and 3 magic points. And will require each fire vampire summon will require a separate binding should you wish to bend them to your will. Additionally, the flames of the torch are drawn from Cthulhu, so they can melt down metal objects as well as those imbued with magic, without the need to summon multiple fire vampires.
So after discovering that, and probably like a good 15 to 30-second pause, Jesse's like, so does it come with fire vampires or does it not come with fire vampires?
It does not come with its own fire vampires, but it gives you a torch with a magical flame that can pretty much melt anything in the world.
There's like a little asterisk at the end of the spell description. Fire vampires not included. Fire vampires sold separately.
I kind of like the idea of having a torch that basically the end of it, if I hit someone with it or touch them, it's going to be like, ah!
I want fire vampires now. I will not be satisfied.
Just, keep in mind, it takes 6 hours to summon the fire. And, you've also expend a bunch of magic points. And
wait, but you said it never goes out, right?
It does not ever go out. Until you decide to put it out magically.
So what are we doing after dinner tonight?
So it costs. So the cost of casting is 6 magic points and 1d6 sanity points.
Are magic points a renewable resource?
Magic points are a renewable resource.
Let me see.
Sanity, not as much.
6 sanity?
1d6.
1d6. So you could. That's
the
not
other,
horrible.
No, it's not horrible. The other books we have, there's one called the Panoptic Manuscripts.
Yeah, Alistair's read that one as well.
Okay.
That's how you know what. That's how you know what spells are in it. That Alistair's read that one, and he also knows both of those spells.
Yeah, contact the winged one and contact the mind of the observer. I've learned.
Yes.
And I've been kicking around learning the create Simba, but I didn't know if we needed zombies or not.
Well, if we're not going to have fire vampires, how can we put? What kind of game are we running here, where we neither have fire vampires or zombies?
Would you? I mean, you've got plenty of time. Would you like to learn create Simba?
I don't know if I want to lose 10 sanity.
That's kind of why I did it.
Well, you won't
lose.
Here. So you've already read Africa's Dark Sects. So you won't lose any more sanity if you want to learn the spell, and you've got time. So if you decide that that's what you would like to do, I will tell you what needs to happen for you to create a Simba.
I highly
it's
encourage.
It's not going to cost me
Alistair.
anything. Then, yeah, I'll learn it if it's not going to cost me anything. And
okay,
if we need to create one later, I'll create one.
So
cost of the spell is 12 magic points and 1d6 sanity. Casting time is 1 day. Developed by the Kyuku sorcerers of Kenya, this spell creates an undead servant. A person chosen to become a Simba must die by ritual mutilation. The priest then chants over the remains of the body from the moment life leaves it until it reanimates approximately 18 to 20 hours later. The Simba will perform mundane and simple tasks such as guard this, fetch that, or kill them. A Simba created in this manner continues to rot after it has risen, so the priest must periodically mutilate new enemies to create more undead servants.
So basically, we have to become cultists to use this.
Pretty much, yeah.
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 Jesse thinks
You'll
about that.
you'll
for
you'll
50
you'll
30
remember
seconds.
that Millie Adams and the other Simba that you ran into in New York all had the sign of the bloody tongue carved into their foreheads, in addition to having been disemboweled.
Well, we've already got the robes.
Then we got the. There's 3 books. I don't know if they have what's in them for sure. All I know is we have the titles. I don't know if we've actually read them. There's one called in French called Equinox de Vis.
You have not read that one yet.
I'll probably read that one since I read and speak French. There's a book in English called the Book of Daizan or Daizan, and that's in English. That should be interesting since it smells of sulfur. And then there is a book in Latin called the Liber Avanus.
So no one has read the Book of Dizan yet, and no one, I do not believe anyone has read the Liber Avanus either. Nope, no one has read that one either.
So there's 3 books, plus there's a whole bunch of scrolls that we got from Gavigan's place.
Oh yes, the scrolls.
So those all need to be at least perused. So I figure that's one thing we can do over these next 2 weeks. I know my character, Lewis, is going to use the ship's. I assume it has a telegram, or probably not a radio, but a telegram thing, right? Or telegraph.
Yeah, there's a telegraph.
Yeah, I'm probably going to try to. That's when I was telling you, I'm making sure we have a hotel for Cairo. Someone's.
Okay, well let's do
Yeah.
the tomes first. Is anyone going to try to read any of the other books that you have? Because you've got a bunch of them.
Well, I'll read the Equinox de Vis since it's in French.
Okay, I will need you to make a language French roll.
All right. Well, since that's mine.
Oh, is that your native language?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
my
okay.
native language.
Then let me just double check. How old is this book? 13th century. Yes, I will still need a language own roll.
All right. Let me find my character. Use the French. Where's my French? Languages. That's right. They turned all the language. Here it is. Own. There.
Okay. So. You lose 5 points of sanity. You gain 4 points of Cthulhu Mythos.
Was that 4 points or 5 points?
4 points.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so this is the French commentary on a Latin original by Gaspard du Nord, written in the 13th century. Supposedly copied by du Nord from an earlier Greek manuscript. and there's some conjecture in here that the book that he copied it from may have actually come from Atlantis. So this book contains a number of spells. It also contains a number of treatises on practical magic, although its focus is more towards the worship of a deity called Asthaga. Um, there are, however, broader illustrations of something that looks suspiciously like an inverted broken ankh, as well as the discussions concerning the enmity between uh, Pazluza, which is where this ankh is kind of pointing at, and a deity known as Nodens.
Okay.
So basically, there's a whole lot of stories here about that. There's a deity who uses, and the book calls this deity Pazluza, Pazz hyphen Luzza, but whose symbol is a inverted ankh, and that the ancient enemy of this deity is a deity called Nodens.
Now, have we been seeing an inverted ankh in our? That seems familiar.
Well, you've got about 20 robes with inverted ankhs all over them. So
so we're okay. So we're dealing. This book is telling us that the enemy of this guy is named Nodens.
Nodens, Nodens.
Hmm.
There are a number of spells in this book. I will put them in the chat. Oh, wait, no, I won't, because I've got it up on the wrong computer. All right, so I will put them in the chat later, but so you have call or dismiss the blind Lord of Chaos, contact formless spawn of Zakwotha, contact deity the Lord of the Waters, which you realize after reading this book that the Lord of the Waters is Nodens. Contact deity Sasthoga. Create barrier of Naktik. Gate. Fog of Misdirection. And Ibon's Wheel of Mist. And I will get those updated in the chat in a few minutes.
Some of those might actually be useful, especially that one of misdirection.
All right, I guess I'll do the Book of Dizan.
You just want to go more insane.
We're all a little mad around here.
All right.
Start the downward spiral. Just go all in.
Okay.
Who
you
wants
do
to
not.
live forever?
You do not need to make a roll if this is what you want to do.
Okay.
You're doing this.
Yeah.
All
smells
right.
like sulfur.
Smells like sulfur.
This smells like bourbon.
Wow, dice were nice to you, Bill. You lose 1 sanity.
Woohoo!
Alleged to be an account of the wise and venerable words of those most exalted high masters of Shambhala, It describes generational transformations of consciousness beginning on a planet called Velaros and ending on Earth. Enlightened beings of flames are said to have raised humanity when the lands of Hyperborea and Atlantis were young. The book relates secret histories of what was and what shall be, with a significant portion of the work prophesizing the rise and fall of different civilizations, including ones based in the North and South Americas. The Black Pharaoh is mentioned several times in this book as he who shall stride the blue and white waters. Also, the bloody tongue is mentioned, a force of beckoning chaos bestride the hot mountain, his tongue suckered in blood. You gain 3 points of Cthulhu Mythos. And there are a number of spells in this book as well. Call forth Child of the Wood. Call forth Wind Spirit. Call forth the Unseen Walker. And consult the Wisdom of the Void.
All right, some of those may come in handy.
Let me know if you would like to, if any of you would like to learn any of the spells that you have now unearthed.
Do they give an indication of what they do?
I feel like I would need to hear that list again.
So there's 1, 2. So there are 3 summoning spells, the call forths. And then the consult the wisdom of the void. You get the feeling that this will put you in touch with dark powers.
End it no good.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like that.
What about that mist one and the wheel one?
Wheel of Mist.
Wheel of Mist and the misdirection one.
Hold on one second.
Sorry about that.
Let me. All right.
Is there anything we may say magic missile type thing?
Fireball, fireball, fireball.
Well, you know, I'm figuring like
Let's see.
you shouldn't like go directly to the level 9 spells, right?
Yeah,
Let's
detect
see.
magic.
Can we start with Can we start with like read magic, something like that? You know, maybe a sleep spell.
Personal shield.
All right, Grimoire. All
Something
right.
by
This is
what is this guy? What is that guy? Mordenkainen? I can't remember
Mordenkainen.
my old
Mordenkainen,
AD&D
yeah.
stuff. Or Big B.
Or Utlak.
All right, so the mist one is kind of, you know,
Misty.
you think it probably means what it says it means, that it will create a bunch of mist or fog.
Does it attack you like the fog that attacked us?
Unclear.
Or more of an obscurement.
Unclear until you learn the spell.
And what about the misdirect? Sorry, there.
And then there's so that was the fog of misdirection. Then
A little London fog.
Ibon's Wheel of Mist. Of course, that's in the other book.
Oh, landed on red snapper. Wheel of fish.
Wheel of Fish.
I forgot about that.
I'll take what's in the box.
You
Nothing.
got nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Stupid. Alright, I am confused. I thought that meant it was in this book, because it has 2 stars next to it, but I don't see it. In this book. What the hell does the 2 stars mean? Not in, doesn't mean, right? Doesn't mean it's in. I am so confused. All right.
More confused than you.
I have no idea what this spell does because I can't find a description of it. Spells.
We'll learn it if it means we can then tell you what the spell does.
Right.
Mists of Pearson.
I will get back to you on that one because it does not appear to be in either one of. This is so weird.
Ooh.
Like it's not in the Keeper's Guide, and it's not here in the. Oh wait. No. All right. I will have to try to find where the hell this is. I'm gonna get back to you on that one. What else would you like to do? That spell may not actually be here.
I'm gonna learn consult the wisdom of the void because I'm getting just crazy enough to try it at some point.
Okay. You do that. You know that this spell will permanently cost 5 points of power and 1d6 sanity. You know that you do not need to be anywhere specific in order for the spell to work, but there's a decent chance that the void will not answer back. There's also a really decent chance that when you look into the void looks back, and that might not be the best thing for you.
It kind of sounds like the other 2 contact ones that I've learned already.
No, I'm real tempted to learn that one about contacting the enemy of the reverse Ankh.
Okay.
Only because if we get in dire situation, we may need help of his. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Okay. You do that. The cost and casting time is exactly the same as the spell that Alistair just learned. So you will permanently have to sacrifice 5 POW and 1d6 sanity. Um, it takes between 5 and 10 rounds. You believe that you can only cast this spell from a remote, unpeopled place, such as the edge of a sea cliff.
Okay.
Release the Kraken.
Also, after learning this spell and after an earlier successful Cthulhu Mythos roll that someone else had uh, had made, you know that the mask that you have, Mask of Hayama, one of the faces on it is the face of Nodens, and you believe that if properly used, that might help you to contact Nodens.
Okay. I don't want to do it unless it's a dire situation, but I figure if there's going to be one person we want to contact, it's definitely the enemy that of who we're possibly dealing with right now. But I don't want to do it. I'm not doing the spell right now, but I want to be ready in case we ever need it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Um, I'm going to taking my time to learn these spells too, so that I'm not doing them all in one day. I'm doing like, over a period of time. So any sand loss I lose isn't too horrible. It's not all stacked up in one day. Because I can't read the book in Latin.
I thought you had Latin. You do not
Let
have.
me,
You don't have
let me
Latin.
I thought I had. Well, let me take a look. I might have Latin, but it's not enough to do that. I don't believe. Let me take a look.
I've got Latin at 45.
Yeah. I don't have Latin. I have Arabic, Egyptian,
Okay.
and English, and of course my French.
All right. So that spell about the secret wheel that's not actually in the book because I have no idea what they thought this spell was going to do, but they didn't actually give me a spell description anywhere. So that spell is not actually there.
Okay. I may have a book that might have it in there. I think I picked up the.
It's not in any of the Chaosium books.
Oh, okay. It's not
So,
in that one I have.
so
Then.
I'm guessing this was either a typo on their part or because it also sounds like it could have been like another name that they were going to give to that fog of misdirection. So that's what I'm guessing happened. So anyway, Iban's Wheel of Mist is not actually in that book.
And I think I will too. That the one for misdirection.
Okay, you learn Fog of Misdirection. Okay. It is a cost of 2 magic points. Casting time is instantaneous. The spell will cause a dense mist to appear in an egg-shaped volume, 10 feet by 10 feet by 15 feet, directly in front of the caster. The long axis of the cloud is always at right angles to the direction in which the caster faces. The spell obscures vision for 1d6 plus 4 game rounds and then evaporates without a trace. So, think obscuring mist from AD&D.
All right. Well, that has some use. I like that.
Any other books you want to read or spells you want to learn while you're on the ship?
Well, I think I'm going to try to go through. If Bill's willing to, I think we should peruse the scrolls just to see what we have.
Sure. Okay, so the scrolls, I think I had told you this when you found them. There are 15 scrolls, very old, volumes in German, French, Russian, Latin, and Spanish, and only 2 are in English.
I think we can cover the ones in French, and we have enough people who can speak Latin. The other languages are going to be a little bit tough because I don't know German and I don't know Russian.
Okay, so the 2 that are in English, there's nothing terribly special about them, but they appear to be epic poems. One is an ode to the bloody tongue, and one is an ode to the sand bats. And those of you who are in New York remember that you read a treatise about the sand bats way back then.
I'll give the Latin one a try.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, so the Latin one is an epic poem talking about the Lord of the Woods, and talks about the great and horrible deeds. Because you've read Life as a God and some of these other things, you pick out some overall similarities. Like the description of the Lord of the Woods is completely different from the Black Pharaoh or anybody else. But the general revenants and some of the rituals have a lot of common themes to what you've read about the Black Pharaoh and the Bloody Tongue. Anything else?
What about the French one?
They are in medieval French, so you will need to make a language own roll.
Okay. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da.
Extreme. Yeah, okay. You apparently did really well studying medieval French. Um,
Written by Charlemagne himself.
right? Okay, so strangely, these also seem to be epic poems to the Black Pharaoh. Really weird that they're written in medieval French.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I will pass that information off to everybody else. Well, so we're basically trying to piece together our knowledge of who we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that kind of takes care of the books, doesn't it? Is there anything we missed?
Let me back and look. You've read the Noptic manuscripts. Uh, I don't think you've read Amongst the Stones.
Yeah, I've got notes on that.
Oh, you
It
do?
says
Okay.
written by Justin Jeffries. Poetry mostly. One poem stands out: "The Trappings of a Queen,"
Okay. No.
a dead
Okay.
ruler of the Egypt Queen
Okay.
Chris.
Okay. So you have read
Yep.
that one. Okay. Great. You've read Africa's Dark Sects. You've read Life as a God. You've read Equinox Devis now. You've read the Book of Dazan. And then there's the Latin book, Liber Ivonus. And you've read Song of the Jinn. So the only thing left is the Latin book, Liber Ivonus, if you wanted to read that one.
Oh boy, yeah. What the hell? I'll give it a shot. I've got Latin. Let me make a roll.
Okay, you are not able to. Your Latin's not good enough to be able to. This is ancient Latin. It's from the 9th century, so your Latin's not so good to be able to make out this book.
Okay.
So what are Jesse and Seamus doing while Lewis and Alistair are going insane and learning spells?
Not a hell of a lot. I'm not a spellcaster. I don't know.
Visiting with Isaac and
What is there
Captain
to do
Stewing.
on a steamship?
Hanging out on the Lido deck with Isaac.
You know, you could be doing that. You could be playing with any of the other toys that you got, the loot. You know, put the Mask of Hayama on, see what happens.
I'm gonna save that for a part of adventures where I'm just gonna put all of them on simultaneously and see what happens.
Excellent.
Go big or go home.
I was thinking about, considering how many times we've gotten our captured or asses handed to us, various things.
Gonna work out.
Yeah, I'm thinking of basically modifying bits of my attire so that I'm not without my some tools wherever we go.
Pockets, lots and lots of pockets.
and stuff sewn into places that people can't find. You understand where I'm going, right?
You're gonna secret some lockpicks on yourself. I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. I figured you were gonna tell me you were gonna do
Practice
some weird
things.
science shit. No, I just
Oh yeah, you gotta do weird science, dude. There's so much time for weird science.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of what type of weird science.
I don't know. We're on a steamship. Something made out of steam.
Cell phone.
Man, I was part of me was thinking it'd be nice if I could just make up a tracker or something you'll give to each person that then we could somehow, somebody gets separated, we go try and locate them.
Can we make an anti-mummy device? It's Egypt. There's gonna be mummies. If there's no mummies, I'm out. What is the point of doing a game in Egypt if there are no mummies?
Oh, I was reading something on what the British used to do with mummies that just was like in the Victorian age that was like nuts.
Stand them up, take pictures.
Unwrap them,
Smoke the stuff.
grind them up
for
for
Oh,
for
yeah,
Aphrodisiac.
medicines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they used to use them for fuel for the train engines.
That I hadn't heard.
Yeah, they would toss them into the
Yeah.
boiler.
Miles per mummy gallons.
Yeah.
Why not? The Scottish put swamp dirt and make drinks out of it.
They're not people. Mummies were people.
There was all kinds of stuff in that peat.
And they burn dung for fuel.
Yeah. They use that in the Isla scotches.
I don't know. I read up on my Egyptian history and watch YouTube. I watch YouTube for 3 weeks.
Nice.
Watch the Isla Scotch tasting channels, and they're like, "Oh, it tastes like honey and burnt hair." Great.
I mean, I
Again,
assume we.
I love
spent
my
time
Isla
leveling.
scotches, but I've never said they taste like burning hair.
one of the guys I was watching, he's like, "It's I get tires on the nose."
Wow.
Tires, yeah, and I love it.
Different strokes for different folks.
I taste them. I'm like, it tastes like campfire.
Oh,
Licking a log.
Long story short, just biding my time till we get there.
oh yeah.
So I would say if you wanted to build a
Team Mummy
tracking
Ray.
device for one person, it would cost you about $100 worth of equipment and require 1d10 plus 5 hours and a successful electrical repair roll.
Let's give it a try.
I just assumed you would have went with remote detonator.
You guys have not. I'd have to get my hands on the explosives first.
Well,
Then that's easy. A remote
Once you-
detonator.
Once you have a remote detonator, the problem takes care of itself.
It's Cairo. I'm guessing there's going to be black market explosives around.
Stuff's blowing up right now. They're having revolutions and stuff. Yeah, how can they not be explosives?
Okay, make your electrical repair roll. So
Not a chance.
What, really?
rolled a 98.
Push it.
So
Push it real good.
you can either spend 28 luck
Can he push an invention roll?
or you could push it.
He sinks the ship.
Boom! Adventure
Game's
over.
over.
I'm not gonna push it.
No, come on.
Okay, what the hell?
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, let's do it. Pushing.
Yes.
All right. Tell me what you did to push the roll.
I
We
basically
added more power.
Tried it out next to the fire.
He
What
hit
I
it
went-
with a hammer.
All right.
What I did is I didn't realize I needed to use the good scotch while I was thinking about it, instead of the cheap booze, right? So first off, you went for the good stuff, right? And then on top of it, some of the wiring, I also had to go with using actual gold instead of just the regular in order to make it. So it cost just a touch more.
Okay. So
Long
this
story short, he used monster cables the second time around.
excellent. All right. So
The gold-plated stuff that they sell you at Best Buy.
six, 16 hours into this, you have a tracking device. So you've got a small, you know, lapel pin size device that you can give to someone, and a handheld tracker that you can hold that up to half a mile will find somebody.
So this is coming useful next time we split the party, or we actually decide to try and plant something on somebody.
There you go.
I like that.
Right.
Oh, there was one item that had hieroglyphics on it, a carved scepter. That we had picked up, the group had picked up as loot. It's African origin card from Boabab wood and inset with runes.
Yes.
So since I know hieroglyphs, I'm going to try to
Sure.
make my roll and see if I do. Nope.
Okay. Yeah, you don't know what the hieroglyphs, like, they look like Egyptian, but they're not.
Exactly.
The characters aren't right. They don't seem to really. It's not the hieroglyphs that you've learned. There's some. They are a pictographic language, but it's not, apparently doesn't
Okay.
seem to be Egyptian.
All right. I'll set that aside, put it back in the chest. Maybe that's something we can check with the museum in Cairo. Maybe there's an expert there.
Okie dokie. All
And-
right. So Lewis was going to try to look for accommodations using the ship's radio. Where are you planning to stay?
Well, I do believe Cairo. I think we're going to try to get transportation from the port to the hotel. I know back in that time point, a lot of
So-
the good hotels would actually have service to take you from the port.
Nope. It's
Nope.
100 miles from Port
All right.
Said to Cairo.
So I'm going to try to set it up so that we have a hotel in Cairo, and we already that we that we'll have a train ride to go there, and maybe some baggage people already waiting for us to help us with our baggage to the train.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So you are able to the hotel puts you in touch with a reliable company. They tell it that, so you get in touch with one of the more European hotels,
Mhm.
and when you tell them that you're docking at Port Said, they tell you, okay, important thing for you to know: the port is shallow. Steamers can't dock at the docks.
Mhm.
So here's the company that we use that's a reliable company that will come and ferry you to the dock and then take your bags and transfer you to the train station.
Excellent.
You buy tickets on the train, and then it's 100 miles, so it's going to be a good part of the day to get to Cairo. And then once you get off, we'll have a motor coach waiting for you
Excellent.
at the train station in Cairo.
All right. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is because of my reporter slash spy background, I am going to contact what assets I know of in Egypt since I've been there before, and set up in Cairo a reliable guide or translator.
Okay. All right. Um, so your contacts tell you, they can recommend someone, but a lot of times the better hotels have someone on staff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you would prefer to hire your own Dragomon, they can they can make that work for you as well.
Yeah, 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 and I also let them know that I will talk to certain people in Cairo in the esp- you know espionage business. Since I am kind of a spy for the British and the Belgium, um, I'll make my because there's a couple things I might want to see if I can take advantage of.
Okay.
Nothing major, but more along the lines that they might know. We have some names down here, and I'm thinking about saying, yeah, I'm investigating this organization slash cult I've discovered that seems to be doing, not going to mention the crazy stuff, but more mention the crime and the smuggling. And I'm trying to see if it's just a crime thing or if they have a hidden agenda,
Okay.
which would be pretty typical, I think, of a lot of the um, European nations that have colonies to kind of keep track of who could be causing political issues or other things in their colonies.
Do you mention any specific names?
Not on the I'm not on the telegraph because that's a little bit. I don't think. I think that would be required for me to do it once I get there.
Okay, that's fine.
And more of a protocol. So I'm going to want to talk to someone because there's some people of interest that I want to um, see what is known,
Okay.
and
All
then
right.
I'll get back to the rest of the group and let them know I've set up our hotel and arrangements to get there.
Great. Okay. Well, it's 9:35. So I'd say let's take a 10-minute break, come back at quarter of 10, and we'll actually get you to Cairo and start that going.
Excellent.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Those of you watching live, enjoy the break music.